Good morning. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive. We're here today at Greenwood Union Cemetery in the African American Cemetery, which is owned and operated by the Rye-Town government, for a very special project which creates a very special advancement here for this facility. Here in Greenwood Union Cemetery, we are within the borders of the city of Rye, which was once part of the town of Rye. And in this particular piece of the cemetery has been an area set aside for African American individuals who have lived and died in this region and have their final resting place here. For many years, this area was neglected, and it looked the signs of being neglected. Weeds grew high, the tombstones were obscured by foliage, and there was no attention not only to the remnants and the reminder of those who had lived, but a disrespect to the people who actually lived and spent their lives here as Westchester residents. That has changed under the leadership of Rye-Town government. We're joined today, and we'll hear in a few minutes, from Rye-Town Supervisor Gary Zuckerman and Rye-Town Administrator Deborah Reisner, who's here with us. I want to recognize that our County Parks Commissioner, Kathy O'Connor, is with us. We will hear from her in a second. Deputy Commissioner Andre Early has joined us as well with the group. We're joined today by Rye-Town Councilwoman Lindsay Jackson, and we also have with us David Thomas, who has been really the generation of the change here at this facility with care and energy and dedication. David, under the direction of the Rye-Town government, has made this cemetery once again a proper final resting place for our neighbors who have died and deserve the proper respect from all of us. The particular reason why we're here is to unveil signage which highlights this. And this was part of a project by Jack Lawler, who has just received his Eagle Scout designation. Now, all across Westchester County, we're always proud to see young men achieve the rank of Eagle Scout, young girls achieve the rank of the Gold Award. It is a tremendous accomplishment in scouting. A very small percentage of the young boys or the young girls that enter scouting ever achieve that level. And Jack has had years of involvement in scouting that led him up to his Eagle Award, but the Eagle Project is sort of the capstone on that career, and the work that he did here, which he'll describe in a second, will be very important. Our Deputy County Executive, Ken Jenkins, we had hoped to have here today. He is actually pinch hitting for me at a meeting at the county office building. If he does join us before the end of this, we will certainly ask him for some of his comments. But in the scheme of things, I want to ask our County Parks Commissioner, Kathy O'Connor, to give us some of the leadoff commentary, and then we'll go through each of our speakers, and I'll make some wrap-up comments, and then we'll open it up for questions from members of the press. Next, our Commissioner of the County Department of Parks, Recreation, and Conservation, Kathleen O'Connor.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, County Executive Latimer. Even though this is not a county park, we were very, very proud and honored when Deputy County Executive Ken Jenkins asked me, as the Commissioner of the Parks Department, to replace the signs that you saw on the way in on the trail. They were in a state of disrepair over many, many, many years of being here. So, of course, without further ado, we replaced those signs immediately, and it hopefully adds to the beautiful history and ambiance of being here. I also wanted to congratulate the Eagle Scout project, Mr. Laufer. We, as the County Parks Department, have had many, many Eagle Scout projects done. We've had parents call right before they're 18 years old and said, could we please do something? So we're very proud to be able to have a lot of Eagle Scout projects done. So the combination of that project and the new trail signs and all the work that's been done here is just a wonderful, wonderful experience. So thank you very much. Congratulations to all.
Thank you, Kathy. Next, I'd like to introduce newly minted Eagle Scout Jack Lawler. He is a senior at Mamaroneck High School. Doesn't know where he's going to college yet, but whatever college gets him, we'll be very fortunate to have him. Jack Lawler.
Hi, everyone. I chose to do this project for my Eagle Scout project because I honestly looked around a little bit and I couldn't find anywhere that really needed help until I found the African American Cemetery. And I learned a little about the history. I came to the site and looked at the informational kiosk behind me, and I learned that this is a place that deserves respect, and it's very important historically to the state. And I saw the lack of respect it was given, so I thought that I should make it look I should give it the respect it deserves. And I learned during the process that there were other projects starting that would increase that would make it look better and give it the respect it deserves. And I was very happy to be a part of that with my Eagle Scout project.
Thank you, Jack. And I generally find that the more a person accomplishes, the more modest they are about that accomplishment. But what Jack has done here as part of the whole course of Eagle Scout really has been exceptional. When I was doing my introductions, I'm sorry I didn't look to my right to recognize Westchester County Legislator Nancy Barr, who represents Portchester, Rybrook, and a section of Harrison. Nancy has been an outstanding leader in the Board of Legislators, and we're always happy to partner on things of great import. Thank you, Nancy. Next, I'd like to bring up the town supervisor for the town of Rye, Gary Zuckerman. We've been fortunate in Rye town government. Both Gary and his predecessor, Joe Carvin, have been deeply committed to the renovations that happen at this location. I mentioned Dave Thomas, who has been assigned this task, which he has done voluntarily and with great gusto. His wife is with us here today, Joan Grenoir Thomas, who is a member of the Portchester Village Board of Trustees. Joan, thank you for your involvement. And Gary and Deborah Reisner, who will follow him, have continued the commitment that this cemetery will be a proper resting place for those who have been buried here. Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you, County Executive. I am really proud to be the supervisor of the town of Rye and have custody of this now magnificent cemetery that has so much history behind it. It was only a few short years ago that it was a desolate place, overgrown. All of the headstones, or most of the headstones, were falling down, broken, etc. And we have made a valiant effort to restore it. And to that extent, I have to give special thanks to the driving force behind the restoration, which is David Thomas. Dave practically used every ounce of his ability, drove us all to scouts who have had several projects here. You've just heard about the most recent one. And the Worldwide Monuments Fund came in to restore many of the monuments so that finally this cemetery is a fitting tribute to those African Americans buried here who could not have been buried in other places, and especially the war veterans, the African American war veterans who served from the earliest times of our history up until the present day. And this is a fitting tribute, and we are all very proud to be associated with the projects that have gone on here. Thank you.
And the individual who is Gary's right hand has done an outstanding job as Town of Rye Administrator, Debbie Reisner.
Thank you. It has been an honor and a privilege and a sacred responsibility to, as Town Administrator, to ensure that this plot of land is cared for and the people buried here are treated with dignity. And I celebrate the fact that this is a spot on the Heritage Trail. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. We're very fortunate in Westchester County to have a number of individuals who voluntarily give their times to head various boards, advisory boards, commissions, in a wide range of areas. And one of the boards that has been established before my tenure that has done quite a bit in the area of recognition for the African American community is the African American Advisory Board. The chair of that board is with us, Barbara Edwards. She proceeds in her responsibilities, my tenure as county executive, and the work that she's done in pulling together a variety of different activities. The Trailblazer event that we've had at the Jay Heritage Center, notable in the month of February, I think, bespeaks to Barbara's leadership. Barbara, please share some of your thoughts today.
Good morning. And I'd like to thank the county executive for making all of this happen. We are privileged, actually, to be here. The African American Cemetery happens to be one of the sites designated by the African American Advisory Board to be included on our African American Heritage Trail. We believe that it is important to recognize our history, to value those who have contributed to the rich heritage and history of Westchester County. And so with the replacement of the sign to bring attention to the public about the importance of this place, this sacred place, this significant place of people who are interned here, helps us to recognize with pride the contributions that they have made. We don't ever want to forget that those interned here have made significant contributions. And so we want to make sure that all people who see the sign recognize how much we value the location, the site, and those who are interned here. I'd also like to appreciate the fact that you have joined us in recognizing the significance of this location. We believe that it is important for us to move forward based on the history, moving toward a better future, and it is this kind of commemoration that gives us the motivation to do that. I'd like to give special recognition to Dave Thomas, who is a member of the African American Advisory Board. This location, this site, the improvement that has occurred is because of Dave's interest, because of his commitment, because of his motivation to make a difference in the location, to bring it up to the way that you see it today. It shows that he's committed. It shows that he's giving and demonstrating the respect that those interned here deserve and need. And so we join him, and I also want to appreciate the contributions made by the Scouts. This is the kind of thing that we want to continue, making sure that we keep up the grounds looking the way they look today. Again, I want to thank you for joining us, and of course, we want to appreciate all of the support that has been demonstrated and shown for us as we continue to uphold our history. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Barbara, and thank you for your leadership as part of the African American Advisory Board. We continue to look forward to that as we go forward on issues large and small in this county. Thank you. And the last speaker I'd like to bring up is County Legislator Nancy Barr. Nothing that happens in this county that involves the hand of county government happens unless both the executive branch and the legislative branch can work together. We've had a good working relationship over these 4 years, and I consider Nancy and her colleagues to be friends. We don't always agree on things, but then again, when you go home at night, you don't always agree with that other person in your life on everything. But we find common ground and we make progress together. And Nancy has been a leader on so many different issues, and I'm proud to call her both my colleague of government and my friend, Nancy Barr.
Thank you so much, County Executive Latimer. I didn't expect to speak. I really just came to support my friends who have worked very hard on this cemetery for the last many years. David Thomas, who you've heard about already, is a constituent of mine, and I was not aware of this cemetery until he brought it to my attention. And I have been coming here now at least once a year and seeing the progress that has been made, and it's really been remarkable. I know that Gary Zuckerman already spoke about the fact that that the tombstones were down. You couldn't read them. Some of them were, so covered with moss and dirt you couldn't read what was inscribed on them. So it's really wonderful to see it come together like this. And it's been the hard work of many volunteers and led by David and the Scouts. As you have heard, many of the Scouts have worked on this as part of their Eagle Scout project over the years. So I just want to thank, I certainly want to thank the county. I want to thank Dave Thomas. I want to thank the Boy Scouts. And I want to thank the town of Rye for all of the work that they have done to make this place really beautiful in the way that it deserves to be. And I'm looking forward to going on the trail and visiting all of the sites that the African American Advisory Board puts together. So thank you all, and it's a great day. Thank you.
I live about a mile from here, right near Playland, and almost every day of my life, I come down Playland Parkway and I get on this highway, the New England Thruway, which is right outside our front door. I'm either going south or north to parts wherever I'm bound for. And I think about, as I stand here, we all hear the sound of the Thruway outside, of the cemetery, the constant rush of traffic. This is life. This is people living their lives, going from one place to another, during those years that they have been given, that I've been given, we've all been given, to be alive and to have that time to think forward. However, and I have shared this thought before, David and some others have heard it before, I myself have a piece of land that I purchased, set aside here for my final resting place when that day comes. And there isn't a day that I don't drive by Greenwood Union either direction and I look over and I think, keep going where you have to go. Just remember how the story ends. The story ends here. And when I've stood here for these services and other ways many times, I look out over the tombstones knowing that at some point in time, one of them will be mine. And I think to myself, this must be how God looks at us. Because when you look at these tombstones from here, can you tell who's buried underneath? Can you tell that there's an African American buried under this tombstone and a white American under that tombstone? Do you know which of these people were male or female if you don't read the inscription? Do you know who died old and who died young? Do you know whether or not they were of some religion or another? Do you know their political affiliation? You know none of it. When God looks at us, in my judgment, my theology, he looks at us as equals, as brothers and sisters, all equal. Whenever we came here and whenever we left here, we're all equal. Unfortunately, for many, many years, we, the society, did not see it that way. We determined that even in death, people who were African Americans needed to be put in a separate place from people who were not African Americans. We have gained in wisdom over the years. And as this country allows us the opportunity to be better every year, this country allows us the opportunity of freedom, not only to do the things we want to do, but to recognize the things that we should have done. And now with this revivification and the appreciation of the cemetery, we have undone a negative and brought back to equality in death what these people did not have during life, which is appreciation for who they were as a human soul. We're here in a second. We're going to unveil a sign, and someone might say to me, George, a sign, is it that important? It's what it signifies. What it signifies is understanding that the people who are buried here lived a life. They were loved by somebody, and they loved somebody. During their time, they had the same pressures that we all had. Whatever the economics were, they worried about it. Whatever the concerns of health were, they worried about it. Some of these people went to war and fought on behalf of their country, a country that didn't give them a fair shake, but they still did that sacrifice, and some of them made the ultimate sacrifice. So those of us who are here, before we reach that point, that's waiting for me right out about over there, we ought to do the right thing. What Jack has done as an Eagle Scout project advances that right thing. It doesn't complete it, but it advances it. We have with us News 12 representative Michelle Brown is here in person. So whoever shows up in person gets the priority opportunity. Michelle? I'm going to ask David Thomas to come over because no one has put more thought and energy into understanding the history and presenting it in the present tense.
I'm sorry, what was the question? It's not a tough question, but I find myself grasping for an answer because when I come out here, I see the stones, I see the stories behind them, I see the possibility that someone will learn something from the lives of the people that are interred here. And I learn something new every year, every time I come out, every time we have a ceremony or an event. I'm looking at this headstone right over there. It says Laura Griffin. She actually died in 1918. That's significant because that was the year of the virus, the Spanish flu. We believe she died because of that. And here we are again, 100 years later, in the same situation. So the stories like that, they should remind us that, you know, all things old are new. The past repeats itself. So it's not only for African Americans, it's not only for veterans, it's not only for the people of the town of Rye, it's for our young people. We've had 4 scouts come through here. The most recent is Jack, who has been touched by what this place means. And when they complete this project, and when they take on this project, it's not just it's for the Eagle badge, the notification, but it also affects them personally. And their families will attest to this. It changes them, just like it has changed me and everyone else who's come out here and learned this story. So that's the importance of keeping this site up and coming out and seeing, you know, the beauty of it and just reflecting out of yourself and thinking of, you know, what these people stood for, what their lives were like. So that's the real importance. Oh, it was in horrible shape. I mean, the weeds were 4 feet tall. Most of the headstones were obliterated by foliage. They were knocked over. They were, you know, covered with moss and lichen and mold, vandalism. And, you know, it broke my heart. And I wasn't the first. I'm just the most recent. There are others who have been here and wanted to do something. I'm just the latest in the line of people who are called. So at this point, you know, everyone, you know, I haven't heard my name mentioned so many times since a detention list in high school. But it's not just me. And, you know, I want everyone to realize that there's the town, the county, the scouts, my family, my wife, the NAACP, the veterans. I can go on and on, the J Center. All of these people have come to me and said, hey, you know what? Maybe we should. And that's how it started. So they're the ones who have given me the ideas. They're the ones who have pushed me to do things. So it's not just about me, and I don't want it ever to be just about me. It's about this location. And long when I'm gone and maybe dust somewhere, you know, there'll be somebody here. This place will still be here. And I'm hoping that somebody will take up the mantle. Okay? Georgie?
Thank you, David. Michelle, any follow-up? Carolyn Fortino, our Deputy Director of Communications, is with us. Do we have any remote questions from the press? Very good. then let me thank you all for being with us here today. I want to recognize Crystal Collins from our team, who's Director of Program and Policy in this area as well. And there's so many other people that are here that deserve attention. Thank you for watching. We will be communicating again this week with some governmental substance. We'll be releasing our capital budget shortly. That'll be of great interest to my friends in the County Board of Legislators. And we'll also be addressing some of the other issues at hand. But thank you for being here. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive. Have a good day and stay safe.